I feel like Lexi's the definition of tough.
Yes.
I think when you just think of her as a player, the way that she hustles, she likes to get the
On the court, the Indiana Fever were fighting for their playoff lives, a team battered by injuries, patched together, and desperate for momentum after weeks of sliding down the standings. Off the court, the spotlight was blinding. Nike had transformed Gainbridge Fieldhouse into a cathedral for Caitlin Clark, unveiling her double C logo with the kind of spectacle usually reserved for championship banners. The entire arena glowed with her presence, though she sat in street clothes, sidelined for the 16th straight game. Yet somehow, in this strange overlap of branding and basketball, the Fever didn't just survive, they made history. Before the ball was even tipped, you could feel the magnitude. Banners of Clark's new logo stretched across the concourse. Fans donned free t-shirts the moment they walked through the turnstiles, creating a whiteout of CC's glowing in the lights. It felt less like a regular season WNBA game and more like a cultural event, a celebration of one woman's impact on the sport.
loose balls, extra offensive possessions. That's what she does. I mean, she got hit, she came back.
But when the buzzer sounded, it wasn't Clark who wrote the script. It was the teammates who carried her absence like a burden, and then used it to fuel one of the most dominant performances in Fever history. From the opening possession, Indiana came out swinging. Odyssey Sims tracked down the jump ball and scored the first bucket, her bright pink sneakers cutting across the hardwood like exclamation marks. A few moments later, Kelsey Mitchell drilled a corner three that not only pushed Indiana ahead, but also etched her name into the franchise record books. With that shot, she officially passed Caitlin Clark's single-season scoring record, marking 771 points in 2025 and counting. The crowd roared, not with divided loyalties, but with the realization that this was the future. Clark and Mitchell, trading history back and forth, raising the bar together, the Fever never trailed. They poured in 20-plus points in every quarter, smothered the Storm defensively, and ran up a final margin of 95-75.
Came back and just continued to contribute again, was a pest on defense, just making her presence felt, offensive rebounds, and that's just...
But the box score alone didn't capture what made the night unforgettable. In the space of 40 minutes, Indiana broke or tied 6 different records, each one adding another layer to their growing legacy. Mitchell became the Fever's all-time single-season scoring leader and the league's leader in 20-point games. Aaliyah Boston joined Tina Charles as one of the youngest to reach 1,000 rebounds. She also became the second fastest in league history to record 1,000 rebounds and 350 assists, trailing only Candace Parker. Sims, the late-season veteran pickup, became the second fastest Fever player ever to reach 50 points and 25 assists. Again, only Clark had done it faster. And together, Boston, Sims, and Mitchell each scored 20-plus points in under 30 minutes, a statistical rarity seen only half a dozen times in league history.
It's who she is. She's just a tough young woman who battles.
Yet the night wasn't only about numbers. It was about grit. That moment arrived in the first quarter when Lexi Hull collided violently with Gabby Williams, the crack of skulls audible across the building. Hull walked off with a massive welt swelling on her forehead, and for a team already missing Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Chloe, BBY Sydney Colson, and Ari McDonald, the thought of losing Hull felt devastating. But less than 10 minutes later, she returned. Swelling and all, she dove for loose balls, battled on the glass, and clawed her way to 9 rebounds. Her toughness shifted the energy instantly. The crowd erupted when she checked back in, and the Fever fed off her defiance. Afterward, Boston called her the definition of tough. Coach Stephanie White said she epitomizes the grit of this team. That wasn't exaggeration. It was the truth playing out in real time. Boston herself embodied dominance. She posted 27 points and 9 rebounds, bullying Seattle's interior defense with a blend of strength and finesse. Every time she touched the ball near the rim, the Storm collapsed, and still.
Every possession, and you can never tell if Lexi does, if she's...
She found ways to score. Mitchell added 21. Her quick release and fearless drive slicing through Seattle's rotations. And Sims, who not long ago was sitting at home unsigned, played like she'd been waiting her whole career for this moment. She scored 22, including a ridiculous contested bank shot from deep that sent Gainbridge into chaos. The Fever weren't just winning, they were dictating. They doubled Seattle's rebounding total 42-21, owned the paint, and kept the Storm from ever finding rhythm. They led by double digits early and never looked back. White said afterward that this was the most complete game we've played in a long time. She wasn't wrong. From start to finish, Indiana looked like a team that belonged in the playoff conversation. And that's where the story pivots to Clark again. Because even as her logo defined the night, her absence defined the stakes. She hasn't played since mid-June, 16 straight games gone with a groin injury, 25 missed overall, including the Commissioner's Cup final.
Hurt, if she's injured, if she goes down, if she gets back up, she just always has the same expression, and
The Fever have had to reinvent themselves on the fly, patching together lineups and relying on veterans like Sims to steady the ship. Yet through it all, the question has loomed. What happens when Clark returns? Coach White has been careful with her words. She doesn't want Clark rushed back only to risk a setback. She insists Clark must prove herself not just in walkthroughs, but in full, live practices, handling contact, sustaining endurance, and showing she can push through fatigue without regression. It's not about cameo minutes, it's about playoff basketball intensity. And with Indiana now 2018, clinging to the 6th seed by half a game, every detail matters. 6 games remain, and each could decide whether the Fever hang on or tumble out of the bracket. Clark's return could be the difference between barely surviving or storming into the postseason as the league's most dangerous dark horse. What she brings is obvious.
plays her butt off, and I'm thankful that it wasn't worse.
Last year, she set the Fever's single-season scoring record as a rookie. Her range stretches defenses out to half court, her vision creates angles that unlock Boston inside, and her presence alone tilts matchups. With Mitchell already at a career peak, Boston growing into a generational cornerstone, Sims providing veteran steadiness, and Hull anchoring with toughness, the addition of Clark back into that lineup could turn the Fever from a scrappy survivor into a legitimate contender. That's what makes this night so important. Because if a shorthanded Indiana team can demolish Seattle by 20, break 6 records, and climb in the standings without their superstar, imagine what happens when she returns. Imagine the spacing, the ball movement, the confidence. Imagine Boston, with more single coverage, Mitchell with cleaner lanes, Sims with less defensive focus. Imagine Clark herself, carrying the energy of a fan base that already transformed a regular season game into a cultural phenomenon. In many ways, this night was a preview of a future not yet realized, a team that refuses to break under injuries.
And thankful that she was able to come back, but she really kind of epitomizes the toughness and the grit.
A locker room built on toughness and belief, and a superstar waiting in the wings, ready to add fuel to a fire that is already burning bright. 6 records in one night proved this Fever roster isn't just waiting for tomorrow. They're building history right now. But when Clark returns, when the CC on the shirts and banners matches the CC on the scoreboard, Indiana might be on the verge of something much bigger than a playoff run. They might be laying the foundation for a dynasty. So now we ask, was this the turning point? Did this night prove the Fever are more than just Clark's team? Or does her looming return change everything once again? Can this roster, forged through adversity, shock the league when their superstar comes back healthy? Drop your thoughts in the comments.